Rachel also pulls up for the final like matches, and she brings her crew of guys with her to be in the audience and to just kind of watch along. Cool. So she's sitting down with Gabby, they're chatting, they're watching the matches, whatever. Sis starts to get really worked up in her head during the experience and kind of outlines her thoughts for us afterwards in her confessionals. And basically, she's really upset because she feels like no one is paying attention to her. She feels like no one is making eye contact with her. No one is going out of their way to come approach her and speak to her. And it's really hurting her feelings, and she's feeling unseen. Okay. She really lost me with this one. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, she really just... I was just watching this, and I was like... I was really trying to be there for her, okay? Like, I was really, you know, sis has been going through it. She's been feeling rejected. I was really trying. But she just really lost me. And I was getting deja vu flashbacks to Clayton's final 3 fantasy suite season. Because if you watch my recap for that, I think had an unpopular opinion in that I felt like, you know, Susie, whatever, had every right to be upset about what Clayton did. But I also felt as though she got mad at him for giving him a test. The test in that case being, do not sleep with the other women and do not tell the other woman you want to be with me if you want it to be me at the end. She gave him that test without telling him he was taking that test, and then proceeded to get upset with him for failing said test that he didn't know he was taking. And I felt like this was the same type of situation. She pulls up, because my thing is like, you're bringing someone to a situation in which the expectations on the societally accepted expectations of how to interact in this space are already laid out for you. Okay? The expectations are you come to this boxing match and you watch the boxing match. That's what happens. Okay? Everyone knows that. I'm going to this event to watch the event. Boom, done. Okay? Rachel has a whole other hidden set of expectations in her head talking about, I actually don't want you to watch this match at all. I want you to watch me. I want you to talk to me. Okay, we'll get into that in a second and what's going on with that in a minute. But you cannot bring someone to an event where the expectations are laid out for them and then get mad at them because you had a whole different set of expectations that are just abnormal to what the situation and what society understands that the situation calls for. Okay, so she really just lost me with that. I could go on for days, but we got to get to the next point. So Rachel's upset because they're not pouring their eyes into her the whole time. And I mean, I get it. Like, that's their friends. Like, they're trying to watch their friends. They're there to hang out, have a good time. And on the flip side of that, if I were her, I would be really annoyed if they weren't. You know what I mean? Like, to me, it's really important to have a partner that I can trust to independently manage social situations, even if we arrive together. Okay, like, let's use a party, for example. If we're going to a party and we both know people, of course it's different if it's like only my friends, whatever, but like, let's say we're going to an event, we both know people. Obviously, in this case, all these guys live in the house with all these other guys. Rachel has Gabby. Like, everyone has someone that they can chill with and talk to. So if we're going to an event and that type of scenario, I would like to be able to trust that my partner can independently manage that situation. They can balance spending time with me and making sure I'm having a good time, as well as having agency to make sure that they are having fun, that they're talking to the people that they want to interact with. And overall, they're managing their own experience and that I'm managing my own experience. I don't need someone to manage my experience for me. I don't need someone to babysit me and always make sure that I'm having a good time. And like, don't abandon me. Don't just like pull up and I don't see you until 4 hours later when you're ready to leave. But you don't need to be constantly, every 10 minutes, are you having a good time? Let me make sure I'm locking eyes with you across the room. Let me make sure I'm checking on you in the middle of this conversation that you're super engrossed in. Like, don't do that. Don't do that. That's not interesting to me. So I just had a lot of question marks as to why that is something that Rachel is interested in. Like, why that's legitimately something that would sound fun for her. Because to me, that would scream clingy. That would scream like you cannot just go into a scenario and have a good time. Like, you need me there. It was what she was describing that she wanted was uncomfortable. Regardless, she was committed to this vision of how she wanted this boxing match to play out for her. She's getting more and more upset in her confessionals, and she decides it is time to take action, okay? So she pulls up to her group of guys, and she basically just gives a speech, and she says, hey, you know what? My feelings are really hurt. I felt really unseen at that interaction, you know, a few hours ago, whatever. I would have liked someone to like make more of an effort to lock eyes with me, to speak to me. So just wanted to let you guys know how I'm feeling. Goodbye. First of all, before I get into the issues of all this, I thought it was hilarious. Like how the guys just literally look so like dumbstruck. Like they just look so like they had been hit by a bus. Like they were so blindsided. And I know everyone loves to joke that like, oh, men can't read women. Like men have no idea like what's going on. They're so dumb, like da da da. But this was a case where like they actually had a perfectly valid reason to not know what was going on. Like they just, she really came out of nowhere, gave no lead up, gave no indication at the boxing match that she was having a bad time. And like I said, did not communicate that this is her expectation of how the boxing match should have gone. And then came and bulldozed right over them about how upset she was. Okay. And then she didn't give them a chance to respond. Like, if you're going to be that upset with someone and you're going to take time out of your day to speak to them about it, which is inherently taking time out of their day to listen to it, it should at least be a two-way street. You should at least give them the opportunity to apologize, acknowledge their feelings, disregard your feelings if that's what they're going to do. Like, you should at least hear what is going on the other side. One thing, of course, this whole situation is wild, but the thing, my main takeaway from this situation is that I just have a lot of question marks in regards to how Rachel views love and if she has a healthy perception of what she's looking for out of her relationship. Because the vibe that I was getting from her speech that she was giving, and one comment in particular that stood out to me from her confessional, is she was like, you know, like we were at this boxing match and these guys were watching the boxing match when I'm supposed to be the only thing that you care about. And this was like super duper incredibly alarming to me because it sounds as though Rachel is looking for an obsessive type of love. And that's not love. Like, just period. Like, that is not. Obsession and love are two very different things. Love and infatuation, two very different things. And it sounds like Rachel kind of wants like that storybook ideal that we've been, especially as women, have been fed all of our lives. So like the guy's supposed to chase you and like you're supposed to not be able to live without each other and like all this extra stuff. And that's not cute. Like, that's not fun. That's not interesting. That's actually very scary and can lead to codependency. And I'm starting to wonder if Rachel does have codependent tendencies and is trying to facilitate, unconsciously maybe, a codependent relationship with her and her next partner, or her future husband. So that's just, it goes back to the example of what I was talking about with like the party and the independence. Like, if you want someone who like is only ever focused on you, like that's gonna get really old and really tired one day. And I don't know that Rachel sees that yet, or that she has done enough introspection and like unraveling her maybe anxious attachment style tendencies to figure out why she wants that and what would actually be a healthier alternative for her. If you want more where that came from, be sure to check out my full recap, which will pop up on the screen.